So far, we have covered how to use custom rubrics in Schoology. These rubrics are simple and quick to build and can be used over and over again with all sorts of assignments, discussions, test quiz, and assessment questions. Once you have gotten comfortable with custom rubrics, consider experimenting with alignment or mixed criteria rubrics to monitor student progress of a learning objective over time. We're back on our course's main page and we'll edit this discussion to include an alignment or mixed criteria rubric. In the Scale/Rubric drop-down menu, I'll select Create New. I'll give it the title Alignment Rubric. This time, instead of choosing the option to add a criteria, I will select the button that says Add Learning Objective. From the new window, I can pull in Common Core, state standards, and even other custom objectives that maybe my school district has added for me, or a collection of my own standards that I commonly like to incorporate into rubrics. Let's look at an example. I'm going to add a couple objectives from the Learning Arts Common Core standards to my rubric. Take note of the number of clicks it takes me to pull these in. Once the standards are in my rubric, I cannot edit the description of the criteria, but I can still edit the grading scale cells and points. If you would like to also incorporate custom criteria like we did in earlier examples, you can create them alongside these alignments that you have pulled into the rubric. When you have both learning objectives you've pulled in alongside custom criteria created on the fly, we call that a mixed criteria rubric. Any of the criteria that you create yourself are completely editable, just like before. As I was pulling in those Common Core standards, I asked you to take note of the number of clicks it takes me to complete the action. I can imagine you may have been thinking, oh no, this is going to take me forever to build out all the rubrics I need for my course. Well, have no fear. If you have a smaller list of your favorite or most commonly used standards that you know you will want to pull into your rubrics, you can incorporate them into a folder ahead of time, and it will make alignment rubric building so much faster. Let's take a look at how. The first step is actually to leave your course and go to the Resources tab at the top of the screen. You'll land in the Personal space, your home area of the resources. Note in the left menu there is a tab for learning objectives. Click on it. If you already have a list of objectives in an Excel or CSV file, select the Options menu and import it. If not, choose the Add menu and create a folder to give your personal objectives some structure. Now I can go back into the Add menu and into the Common Core and do all the drilling to get to the individual standards and select them. I can also choose to add custom learning objectives. Here I can add any type of objective I'd like. These can be things like frequently used Common Core or state standards, custom objectives that I've created myself, or I can even rewrite Common Core standards in a language that makes it easier for my students to understand when they look at the rubrics. Just remember, here we are creating learning objectives. These will be tracked throughout the course, in contrast to the custom criteria created on the fly, which are not tracked. Now to demonstrate how pulling your commonly used standards into resources saves you time in your course. Let's head back to that same course we were in before and modify an existing rubric. From within the Grade Setup tab on the left side, I will click into one of my rubrics and select the Add Learning Objective option. This time, I will select the Custom Learning Objective option from the top of the screen and open my personal space. Here I can see the folder we made a moment ago, and I can quickly select my standards. Well, that wasn't many clicks at all. Why are learning objectives beneficial to use, even though they take a little extra work to incorporate into the rubrics? Because your students' progress towards those standards is trackable over time, whereas the criteria you make on the fly are not tracked over time. For example, I may use the response post quality objective in 5 or more different course discussions, assignments, and test responses during the semester. When I have it set up as a learning objective, I will be able to see if the student's response quality improves as the semester goes on. In this course, the same learning objective, not criteria, was applied to 4 different assignments. They have all been graded and now populate my Mastery gradebook with very useful information. Across the top, we see the learning objectives listed. I'll scroll left until I come to the literacy objectives. I can tell they were associated with 4 different course materials because the small number 4 is listed in the cells. We see this student has been pretty consistently meeting the standards that we are looking at. But even though they may be getting a very high B overall in the class, they're not showing success when it pertains to this particular standard and would definitely benefit from additional support. I'll click into the last one to see more details. Here we can see the title of the learning objective in the top left corner and the names of all the course materials this objective was associated with in the top row. This is how utilizing learning objectives in your rubrics can give you some extra informational insights that you might not get otherwise.